Right, this is about Malfunction Voids All Pays at the casino, bingo halls, whatever it may be. I was at the bingo hall and, we were only spending a little bit. My wife got these free spins and she only, like, what was it? She only had about $18 left on her play and she got the free spins. Free spins came up, da 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 da, and then say $22 came up, on the free spin, at the end of the game. Then the machine went something like, got to call the attendant straight after the free spins. So I called the attendant over, and the attendant came in. He pulled the machine apart, and he done this, and he pulled this, and pulled every wire off, and put it all back together, and couldn't fit it, and then he pulled it apart again. Oh, geez, this went on for at least 45 minutes, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, we'll pay you out soon. It's just that another machine went funny also at the same time." All right, fair enough. So he puts the machine back together, whatever he was doing, pulling it all apart, and it was in the wrist. It was the Bailey's machine. He's going on his phone, he's talking to Bailey's, and then he's saying Bailey's ain't getting back to him. And we'll pay you out soon, man. I'm sorry about the long delay. There's another machine has played up at the same time, doing the same thing. All right, fair enough. So anyway, we go for the payout, and nothing happens. And the $22 in there, I can't remember how many cents, was sitting in the background, and on the front of the machine, like a 3D thing, it was saying $18. He said, "Yeah, I can see that, that it paid that on the free games." And he looked back through whatever he's done, went flicking his key about 1,000 times, and "I'll be back in 6 minutes. I've got to reset the machine." So he kept resetting it, this, that, the other. Anyway, what? He decided, he was going to pay. All right. So he said, "Oh, well, I'll bring them over. We'll do a manual payout." So along comes the people in their little black jackets, looking all official as if they've been to a Taiwanese dinner, and they wrote out a little check for $18. And I said, "No." I said, "See this?" I said, "It's still got 22 from the..." It wasn't there. It disappeared. And you know what? The man who was working on it went all shy and said nothing. They said, "Well, we can only pay you by what we see what's on the screen." I said, "Just before you come here, it had $22 and whatever cents. And now you're only going to pay her the 18 that she already had in there, and the other 22's disappeared." And the woman, she looks up and she points at this thing and says, "Malfunction voids all pays." I said, "No," I said, "that's thievery." I said, "You're thieving because the money was there, and when you come to pay, it disappeared off your screen." Anyway, she done this sort of, like she didn't give a shit, and she pointed at it and said, "Malfunction voids all pays." All right, so we took a photo of it before, well, this is what it was, and I'm going to teach you something. If you get a payout and it fucks up, take a photo. Use your phone, and take a photo of the machine. So they wouldn't pay. We went to the desk, and we told the bloke, I said, "Look, here's the..." He said, "Well, they should have fixed that." He was an Indian fella, and he was pretty good, an American Indian fella. He was pretty good at that. We told him, and he said, "Well, they said that there was nothing there. They can't pay." He said, "Well, did you try to speak to the person on the floor?" I said, "I don't know who they are on the floor." Well, just before they walked away, the people said to my wife, "We'll look after you, Mrs. Monroe," as if they were coming back to fix it up. Well, 45 minutes, hour later, no one come back. "We'll look after you." Right? So anyway, that's how we got to complain. So what I'd done, I contacted the Atmore office, you know, because there was no way in hell I could find a telephone number for this Montgomery bingo place. So I contacted the Atmore office and I said to them, look, we were playing the other night, this is what happened, and we can't do anything, you know. And I said, well, can I speak to a supervisor above the girl who I spoke to? And I told her the same story again. And, you know, she said, well, can you repeat it to me and tell me what happened? She said, you know, we can't do anything because we're the corporate office. We're not the, you know, like the satellite office. I thought, what? I said, well, how do you people deal with theft? I said, what happened is that it was there and then it was gone when it came to pay out. And I said, that's theft. Because it was there, and I said, the person who was standing next to us and saw the money there went all sheepish, said nothing and walked away, as though he didn't even want to know us. And I said, well, how do you deal with theft? And she said, well, you know, we can't do anything, and there's no telephone number to this satellite office, although we're corporate here. I said, well, if you're corporate, you should know what your satellite businesses are doing and how they're thieving from people and not paying them. When the money's there, it's there. When it comes to pay out, it's gone. So anyway, the next day, some bloke from this satellite office with a telephone number, and it said, you know, whatever entertainment, and they told me that there was no telephone numbers to reach them there, contacted me. I told him the story. He said, well, I wasn't there. This was 2 days ago. We won't be able to, you know, may not be able to find it on our security, you know, wind back things on their cameras and stuff. And I told him we recorded that and took photos with our camera. Oh, you're not allowed to use your camera in there, you know, you're not supposed to. I said, well, we did. We actually did record it with our camera. And he said, well, what I'll do for you then? I said, well, how do you people deal with theft when it's there and it's not there? He said, well, you should have talked to someone who was on the floor, and they must have determined that it wasn't there. Well, they must have determined because it disappeared off the screen just as they went to pay us a manual pay. So what I'll do for you, Mr. Monroe, and I'm telling you this in a way, in short version of the frustration of how you deal with these people. I said, well, how do you deal with theft? I said, you know, you took my money, but you're not going to give it back. And I said, where'd that money go? And when it comes back on the screen, who gets it? Oh, well, what I'll do is I'll put $25 on your card. I said, no, it was my wife's. Well, he decided he'll put it on my card. And, you know, I said, well, it was only $22, and, well, we can't really determine that by looking. You should have called earlier. Well, I did call earlier. So how they dealt with that was actually say, well, we'll pay you a credit, which is an in-house credit of $25. It's not money that you can actually go and push the button and push collect and you get your $25 back or your $22 back. It was an in-house credit. So he put an in-house credit on there, and I asked my wife the other day to go and spend her money, that it was hers, on my card, and she said there was nothing that come off it. So really, an in-house credit can sometimes be dud money. That's my opinion, but when a person says malfunction voids all pays, they can be using that as a scapegoat and not paying you because they can't be bothered finding out what happened on their Bailey's machines or whatever may be, and the easiest way is to get you to walk away, you know, and accept that that's what it is. But it's not what it is. If they thieve from you, you're entitled to know where that money went. What do you do when it comes back on the screen because it disappeared when you paid me? It's not there no more. You're entitled to know that if you were playing that machine and it's malfunctioned and then the malfunction fixes itself, Where did the money go and who gets it, and do I get my money back? Anyway, I thought I'd let you know how I dealt with Malfunction Voids All Pays. I'm in Top TV.